Welcome to the Self-Care Show with Deidre Sanford. Although holistic and alternative healing methods are becoming more and more mainstream, what method is right for you? How do you find a practitioner once you've chosen to explore an alternative therapy? Each week, Deidre will explore a different modality with practitioners who will explain their modality and the benefits they and their clients have received through their sessions. She and her guests may also offer live readings during the show. Now, your host of the Self-Care Show, Deidre Sanford.
Hello, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Self-Care Wednesday. We're ready to kick things off and have so much fun. Yay! May 31st, we're closing another month. Can you believe it? I have no flipping idea where all of this time is going. Good morning, Lori. I really don't know where this time is going. And for those of you that have been hanging out here with the Self-Care Show for a while, you know, we talk about kind of everything, anything, whatever's on the radar. And we've talked a lot about transition. Good morning, Tim. Finally lined up. Yay! Welcome back. Missed ya. Talked a lot about transition on the show. And in some ways we've done it. I've done it in vague terms. We talked about spring. We talked about we can never change the essence of flowers. Brought in a lot of people who specialize in different healing modalities. I mean, that's what we're about at this point, right? So healing modalities bring about transition, or we seek out healing modalities when we are in transition. And I'll share a little known fact about me. We already know I'm standing on the edge of transition, or maybe on my way through this one. We're not sure. We'll wait and see. But in my previous life here on this plane, I call it my past life, but it's not technically a past life. It's part of this current life. I was an entertainer. I used to run corporate events. I used to work festivals and host karaoke, bartend and karaoke at the same time. That was fun. And all of it was a lot of fun. I taught line dance. I competed East Coast swing, West Coast swing, and line dance back in the 90s, back in the heyday. But more than anything else, I was also a theater actress. More than anything else, I was a singer. And I've noticed, again, recently that at some point, I quit incorporating so much music into everything I did just about all day, every day. I used to be the one you couldn't have a conversation with if you were uncomfortable with me suddenly breaking out in song lyric. I could always hear the music playing in the background when the girls at work sat down at the table to have lunch. Hey, Lee. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Been having some throat chakra issues. And I thought, well, yeah, because I'm not singing. Singing used to be my healing place. Yeah, I danced. I danced a lot. I got down to a size 4. I danced so much. But I wasn't just after the beat. I wasn't just after the fun and the movement. I was a lyrics girl. And that's not really something that changes a whole lot. I used to pick songs that I was going to sing at karaoke because of what they did to my heart and how they touched my soul, which simply means, and I'm a perfectionist, so I could not take any song out and do it at karaoke or do it in a show unless I had rehearsed it to the nth. And that often meant that I would sing a verse of a song and be an emotional crying heap on the floor. And I'd get up and I'd do it again and again and again and again until I could sing that song without losing my grip on my emotions. Hey, Lee. Yes, life should be a musical. I love it. We should talk more often then because we can bring all those lyrics in. But when I could get through that song that was so gut-wrenching, good morning, Facebook user, then I knew I had worked my way through whatever it was I was trying to heal from. And those of you who've been following at least since last fall know that I have made at least 5 trips down to Arkansas, the most recent one being for my dad's memorial service. The preceding trips recently had been for working with him in the hospital, working with my stepmom, and helping him in the early phases of his transition process. I made my own transitions. We know I've moved. Physical movement, and then again, spiritual and developmental movement. And today's guest, Jill Remensnyder, whether she knows that or not, has played a pretty good part in that journey, especially over the last 6-8 months. Anyway, what I wanted to share with you today is a couple of songs that were definitely songs that left me in a heap on the floor when I first started rehearsing them. Because I pulled them out this morning and I was listening to them and I thought, we got to share this. They're popular artists, or at least were popular anyway at a time. And they were kind of like the B-side to a 45, right? They're not super well-known songs by either of these artists. One is Rascal Flatts, and that song is I'm Moving On. And it talks about transition and change. And as we go through transition, or as we're coming out of transition, sometimes we realize that those who have been with us for years might be the ones that aren't really ready to see or accept the changes that we've made. Conversely, sometimes they're the first one to see the changes before we realize we've made them. So Todd has popped those into the chats for us today. The first one he popped in is that Rascal Flatts song, I'm Moving On. And the second one that I need to probably send to him, and I'll get it to him in a minute, is Sugarland. And man, Jennifer Nettles, she's got a voice, right? Set of pipes on that woman. These are all songs that I used to pull out in karaoke. Jennifer Nettles and Sugarland have a song called Stand Back Up. I'm going to let the title speak for itself. Grab the opportunity to later stick around with the show. I don't want to lose y'all, but stick around. Copy and paste those links into your YouTube or wherever you go find your music. Rascal Flatts, I'm Moving On, and Sugarland, Stand Back Up. I'm going to ask you guys about that next week. So I'm looking for some feedback. I want to know how those songs hit you. Now, let's move on to the bigger topic, and the most exciting part of today's show is the lovely and wonderful filmmaker, psychic medium, Jill Remensnyder. Come out and show us your beautiful face, Jill.
Hi, Deidre.
Oh, Lori, I already sent him to you in a chat. Don't worry about it. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know that you're kind of exhausted from an exciting weekend.
You know what? Exhausted, but it was so rewarding.
Yes.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love it. Well, thank you for working us all into your recovery schedule today. And thanks for coming to share your excitement. So I just simply said filmmaker. And that's your main focus, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm a writer producer. It's underneath the filmmaking umbrella. I've kind of been there, done it all. I've done some directing. I've done some. I've run and picked up lunches. If it needs to be done, I'll jump in and do it. But my husband and I, we do own a production company, okay. And our focus is we make films, we do commercials, a little of this, a little of that. But most recently, we've kind of fallen into the world of documentaries.
Love it.
Where my producer hat has been pulled down really tight, and that's been my focus for the last few years.
That's so awesome. I love all the different aspects of creativity that have to flow through you in order to do what you do. And I think I even read somewhere that some of your inspiration for what you do comes from who you innately are, and that is spirit.
Yeah, so everything in my life has come kind of full circle. I've always, ever since childhood, whether it's drawing, painting, performing, that has been such a natural outlet for me. Mm-hmm. And I was always able to kind of switch gears into this other person, where I was never quite sure where some of this stuff was coming from. But I guess when you're in flow, and when you're tapped in, you just run with it, and you're on the journey. And the documentaries we've been working on, they've been gifts. They've come to us literally, especially over the course of the pandemic. I had a special project that came to me where, sometimes you just open up and things come in, and you sit down to jot down ideas, and before you know it, you're 20 pages in on a screenplay. And then before you know it, you've got actors attached, and before you know it, locations are falling into place and the timing works out, and then you direct a feature film that you're in post-production on. So yeah, writing has always been like my main outlet. And it took a global pandemic for me to figure out and understand and learn that a lot of what I've been tapping into, the creative Jill, was really more the little messages that I was getting from my guides and higher beings, I guess you could say.
There you go. Thank you for bringing that.
I'm just gonna spit it out there. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
I talk to people and things that I can't exactly see all the time, and neither can others. So,
but that's bringing your innate self or bringing spirit into your career, into your everyday life, is something that I really wanted to hear from you about today. So when you first started developing ideas, writing down ideas, you're saying, I think, that you weren't aware that that's how it was working.
There's definitely, yeah. So there's, for me personally, and maybe some of your listeners, they can relate, when there's like two aspects. Like when I'm in my Jill mind, it's a struggle. I have to think. It's like doing your taxes. Like for me, it's like, this is like a whole other set of skills and thinking that does not come naturally, and it's painful, and I cry a lot. Whereas this, like, whether it's writing, whether it's like when we're on set and we need to pivot and take an interview in another direction, it just comes naturally. It clicks, it flows. There's no thinking. It's all ease. And I totally lost place of the question.
No, you didn't.
Where are we going with this?
No, you didn't. We were talking about not initially realizing that ideas that were working easily, ideas that blossomed into fabulous projects, were actually coming from spirit, not from necessarily what most of us would consider our creative bursts. So, and you already kind of answered my next question, and that is, did you find that when you started incorporating spirit into what you do for a career or what you do in your daily life, everything seems to flow so much more easily and turn out even better than you thought?
Yes. Things, now that I've acknowledged and I kind of have a better understanding of how I work creatively and just as a person in general, I've noticed not only have projects come easier and turned out better, but also, I mean, like the clients that we attract and the people that we work with, the projects that let's be honest. I mean, sometimes a corporate video can be like pulling your teeth, but I will say, I will go on the record saying this, the clients we work with and the projects that come to us, they are blessings, because we get to use our creative muscles, and it's not painful. It's fun. I'm having fun, and that's the biggest thing.
That's amazing. What a blessing to be able to have found what it is that brings joy to your life and makes working fun. I think we all struggle with that at different times in our life. Perhaps you are the one exception I've met. Well, not the one. My biological father was a second unit AD at Universal and a Clio award-winning commercial director here in Chicago when he was working. So I did not know that we were that closely linked in those aspects either. They wanted to throw me in as a commercial actress when I was 5, 6 years old. And mom said, no, absolutely not. So I think it's neat that we also have that commonality somewhere in our backgrounds.
Yeah. And do you find that it just kind of, it affects everything you do? Like there's always kind of a little creative flair or a little bit of a rogue approach to things sometimes?
There used to be, when I was more creative for a living, when I was singing, when I was entertaining, when I was running event rooms, at that same time, I was like an actress in clinical training for medical students 1st through 4th year. So we had to know all of the background for the character that we portrayed in order to get the doctor to get to the diagnosis. Those days were probably some of the most relaxed, most fun days I ever had.
Oh, I bet.
It's coming back, but it's coming back differently. It's coming back in flashes of inspiration for workshops. And I've learned that if I don't start writing when that idea hits, I lose it and I have to work hard to find that information again. But if I sit down when that inspiration hits, I'm off and running. And before I've known it, Spirit has given me everything I need, outlined the workshop, and I'm writing what materials I need as well. Stay tuned because those workshops are coming. I love it. Yeah. And I think, I don't think we have anybody listening or viewing the show today who would disagree that when they open up and allow Spirit to influence their actions and decisions and basically almost anything we're working through, things are a lot easier.
And I do have to, just to throw this in, it wasn't like I just had one of these like beautiful spiritual awakenings that you see plastered on Facebook and beautiful memes with butterfly wings and stuff. No, I was hitting the snooze button on my spiritual awakening alarm clock for years. And it kept coming over and over. It's like, the more you ignore us and put this off, the more we're going to make it uncomfortable. And just like kind of a quick story on how this happened is, so we made my husband and I and our cinematographer, we're like a 3-person team. We made a Bigfoot documentary, and which was like, this is a fun way to kill time during a pandemic. We thought it would just be a quick project, interview a few people, move, wrap it up like a little Christmas present, move on. But as we got into it, we kept getting introduced to other people who introduced us to other people. And I didn't realize that was part of my journey, is like kind of Dorothy, going down the yellow brick road, meeting people who were going to help her along the way. And one of our interviews was with a woman named Tara, who's a psychic medium who had a Bigfoot sighting and interactions. And when we went to do her interview, as the guys were setting up cameras and whatnot, I took off with her and her friend that she does, like they do clearings and whatnot. And we were up in the woods where they work doing clearings. And on the way there, I remember it so clearly because she's driving, she's kind of looking over her shoulder at me. She's like, so what do you do? Do you see, you hear what? And I'm like, what are we talking about? And she's like, do you ever see or hear things that other people, don't quite get? And I started kind of going through, I'm like, well, yeah, like when I look at a wall or I'm looking through a room and I can see you can see the air. I know that sounds weird, but like and you see things moving and, when you're hearing things chat in your ear. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but everyone does that. And they're like, no, they don't. And so I was able to really she's the one who kind of put her hand on my shoulder and kind of pointed me in the right direction of how to kind of lean into this. And along the way, I started meeting other people, ended up in classes, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Here we are. But what was really interesting to me is as this was all coming together and I was starting to embrace all this, all of a sudden everything clicked, like going back and looking at my childhood, because there were so many things that I was told, overactive imagination. When I remember at night, like being a little kid and like the ghost sitting at the foot of my bed, and I'm like showing off my stuffed animals and trying to gauge, like, why aren't you interacting with me, and stuff like that. And it just everything clicked. I'm like, oh, all those times, all those times I've actually, like, in meditation, I've done kind of a call out to, like, any spirits that I may have offended or acted poorly or behaved not in my best light because I thought it was the end of the world and you were evil. Sorry, I didn't know. But hey, you learn. What you don't understand can be scary, but
absolutely.
I just had to put that out there.
I love that picture of sitting in bed as a young girl, showing off your like teddy bears. It's like the teddy bear show and tell with the ghosts. I think it's awesome. Instead of shutting down and being scared, you were just like, hey, look at my teddy bear.
On that note, though, I remember I was like showing this off, showing off all my stuffed animals, and he's like, oh, that it was like this older grandpa type guy, and he's like, oh, that's great, and I'm like, who are you? And he's like, well, I'm a ghost. Like, he was trying to explain to me, to like 4-year-old Jill, and I was like, okay, not quite sure, not tracking with this, but look at my dinosaur, and the next day I remember in the kitchen, I remember exactly where I was, by the refrigerator, by the bread drawer. And I asked my mom, I'm like, what's a ghost? And she was trying to tactfully explain to me, as you do to a 4-year-old, what happens when you die and your spirit goes on. And then all of a sudden it like jogged as like, wait a minute, I watched Scooby-Doo and I know that the ghosts are. So then I'm like, okay, so it's not real. It's like rip a mask off, but it's scary. So that kind of set the tone on things from there on out.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little work to get the understanding, but got there, and that's what
we got here.
Really. Yeah,
it's been a journey. Awesome. We're here.
Good morning, Sylvia. Lee says, hey, Tim. Lee says Broken Road was her wedding song. Let's take a super quick station break. We're doing it just a little bit early, but when we come back in, you ready to rock and roll some readings here?
Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
I wanted to hear your story. I want people to understand how much spirit comes into play in your daily life and how much more flowy, if you will, it's allowed your creativity to be, and how well it's served you by honoring spirit. All right, guys, let's take a quick station break. We'll be right back. Start popping those questions in the chat. We're going to get to as many as we can today. Jill is still hanging out with us. We are looking now to shift the remainder of the show into doing some readings. I know we've got one out there that's already submitted a request. Lee says, but you would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for them darn kids. Sylvia Gardner. Sylvia's popping in and she's asking, I'd love to hear from spirit guides or any message about my spiritual path and if I should continue. So we're both just going to take a second and hang out. Jill's already waving her pen around in the air.
Bippity boppity boo.
Woohoo!
I just want to, like, initially, the first thing I'm seeing like a spiral staircase, and it's showing me like you can go up. It's like you're walking up, but then it's almost like, oh, I'm going to go back down a few, and then go up and down. There's like a hesitation, but the way it's making me feel is like, just like if you're going up like normal staircases, especially the spiral ones, because those do take a little bit of extra effort and they can be tricky, and you want to watch your steps so you don't fall. But all good things are going to take a little bit of effort in pushing past like barriers to get to the light. I don't know if that makes any sense. It just feels like there's some hesitations and you're taking some step backs, but it's like once you get that upward momentum, it's like, keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of about the same time you started talking, I heard the word fear, and it's kind of just a validation for, Jill, for what you had said, for Sylvia as well. We both get it from our own perspectives of being afraid to allow spirit in, being afraid to really develop that trust and follow the guidance that we're getting from spirit, share the information that we're getting from spirit. I think it's kind of fun.
I'm so glad you said fear, because what it feels like is like looking back, like as like stepping down, like kind of it's a retreat. Retreat's the word I just heard, but it's retreating back into darkness. And there's like clouds, but as you go, it's like pushing through the clouds into the light.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, it's like when you're in an airplane and you're taking off and you have to go through and say, I live in Portland, so it's always raining. But like when you're taking off and it's a cruddy gray day, and as soon as you break through those clouds, it's this beautiful blue sky. That's what it's making me. That's how it's making me feel. So just keep going up your staircase and just break through, and the light is up there.
Yes, I love it. Sylvia's validating everything that you're saying. She said, that's so true. I've been going forward, then blocked over and over. Fear does play a part, as well as trust in my gifts and share with others. And she said, yes, there's been lots of turbulence. I did pull a quick card from the Soul Truth deck, or the self-awareness card deck. And that card says, what is the most limiting belief keeping me from what I want right now? And usually, I think for most of us, even at different points in our journey, specifically early on, the biggest limiting belief that holds us back is faith in ourselves, faith in spirit, and being afraid that when we step out, we're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to interpret it incorrectly. Don't interpret, just give, that kind of stuff. So Sylvia, what do you think, Jill? I think she's got this. Just kind of open up, embrace it.
You just got to keep on going. Keep a hand on that handrail so you don't slip, just hold on and go.
Woohoo. I hope that helps validate things for you, Miss Sylvia. Thank you for letting us know. And then, or giving us the opportunity to help read things for you and take a look at what's going on. Miss Jill, Lori has popped in, and she popped in early. She's like, put me on the reading list. So we had to go back up, capture that one, and see what we can get for Lori. I'm not sure if she's got just a general, tell me what spirit wants me to know, or if there's a specific question hanging out there, but I think she'll be pretty okay with whatever we come up with for her. And I'm going to sidestep this one a little bit and let you take the lead.
Lori, the first thing what I'm hearing is the phrase road to recovery. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that means that if that's something literal, or if it's like, I'm seeing like the open stretch of the road, and whatever you're kind of driving over, like it's almost like you're going through the construction zone where you have to go slow until you're back on like the freshly laid pavement. But it's like, I feel like whatever you're going through, you just got to stay the course, and everything will flatten out. It'll be smooth sailing once you can get through this portion. I don't know if there's something that you're going through right now that you're trying to work out. but it feels like once you work it out, we all know that feeling of like when you're on the bad road, but then you get on the new road,
Yeah.
the smooth transition it is. And it just feels like you're having to go at a reduced speed until you can open up. And I apologize for the terrible automotive driving reference.
No, it makes a lot of sense, actually. I sidestepped this one because Lori is also a reader, and we read together on the show often. And I kind of know a lot about what's going on. So I just wanted to let somebody else take this one, that somebody else being the amazing Jill. I did pull a card though. And the card that I came up from the Oracle of Fairies deck is "It's time to prepare for a journey?" ? It may be impromptu or planned. Either way, make sure you're ready when the time comes. Pack up your passport. And I don't know that I would take it quite as literally as it's written. I think it's representative of the journey that like Jill is speaking of, stay the course, under construction. And I know she's going to hate me when I say this, but we're going back to the same thing that we talked about a little bit with Sylvia, and that is trust and faith, trust in yourself and faith in spirit.
Deidre, just to add on that, when you're saying pack your passport, I was right before you said that, I was seeing luggage, but okay. It was kind of like the luggage was left next to the car and the car's taking off.
Okay, got it.
Leave the baggage behind. Leave whatever baggage behind. You can always go shopping at the destination.
Nice, Lori. I think you got this. I think that all made a lot of sense. She did send through a message that said validated. So know that she heard and understood everything you said. Todd's backstage lining you guys up for us. Thank you very much. I apologize in advance if I pull people up out of order for readings. Craig Sampo Jr. has popped in and said he's interested in a reading. He's in an interesting spot right now. So I think he's looking for something a little situational. I think he popped in and out.
I feel like I'm on a merry-go-round or even like a Ferris wheel. And it's fun for a little bit, but it's not something you'd want to stay on for a long term. It feels like eventually like the ride has to end. You have to get out of where you are right now. It feels like you might be a little bit stuck or trying to find the timing to get out of the situation. I don't know if that makes any sense. There's also, I'm feeling like there's a little bit of a, I guess, how do you say this? Kind of obligation, and I'm getting obligation and boundaries, whereas you don't want to, it doesn't feel like, you don't want to say no, but it's about prioritizing, being able to say this isn't a good fit for me, and I need to put myself first and then get off this ride.
Yeah.
Does that, I'm just,
no, it makes sense to me. I kind of got a feeling that there's a career shift coming, but there are also some personal relationship type issues that are in question. And I think that speaks to the prioritizing. There feels like there's this new career opportunity coming along, and it's just going to require some work-life balance.
And not being afraid, don't be afraid to say no. It's not so much about saying no, that you don't want to do something. It's about prioritizing, saying, I need to do this I need to put myself first. I need to do these things to take care of myself. And people who don't understand that, like a lot of people get offended or get hurt feelings when they're told no. Mm-hmm. But if you tell people that this is my priority and I need to focus on this, it's kind of shifting the perspective and making people understand where you're coming from. But I do see that like merry-go-round or Ferris wheel, you got to time it. You don't want to jump off at the top. You want to wait till the ride comes around to the bottom before you get off.
Yeah, jump at 7 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock on the face of the clock, or maybe 5.
Yeah.
Right at the very bottom, but just before or just after, because there's that window of time where it's like, I got to commit. I got to commit. I got to go, or I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss it yet. It's still time to jump.
Otherwise, you're still going to be stuck in that cycle,
Uh-huh.
just waiting for a chance.
And in addition, so timing as well as the prioritizing that you brought up. And I agree with all of that. I get the same sense. And the card that I got, and for some reason, I'm stuck on this Oracle of Fairies deck this morning, but that card says, protect your dreams. Speaking to your priorities, Jill. You are the guardian of your priceless, precious dreams, and they're safe in your care. Keep them close to your heart until you're ready to release them. Maybe it's not a no. Maybe it's, I can get into or agree with part of what's been proposed, but this is what I need in exchange. You were saying, don't be afraid to say no. And I think that it's no with a balance, right? You can have it all. Mr. Craig, I hope that helps. He does come back in as Starseed Discovery. He's saying, yes, absolutely. Anything coming in about what that may be.
It feels very open. Like there's going to be some, like, I don't want to say endless possibilities, but you're going to have, like where you're in a single lane right now, all of a sudden you're going to have a lot of open options about what direction you can go in. And I'm hearing, it feels like slow down, pull back, observe everything. Don't just go rush or jump into the different paths that are opening. Take time to just kind of sit with yourself, process all the possibilities, and do what I'm feeling like a pull right from the heart. Like, do what feels right. Like, follow your heart.
Do the one that feeds your dreams. It's fine. Yeah. I wasn't laughing at you at all. I was laughing because as I went to put this deck away, a card jumped out, and it was the solitude card. And what I heard was, sit with it, follow the one that feels closest to you. Not necessarily isolation, but opportunity and giving yourself the time to make the right decision that sits in your heart. I think we're getting similar information, Miss Jill. And I love that Sylvia and Craig have both been able to really identify with the information that you're bringing forward for them. And the cards are validating things too. So you are on a roll, lady.
I like the cards. What deck is it again?
It's the Oracle of, it's backward. The Oracle of Fairies card.
Okay.
Cards. And it's by Karen Kay, both with a K. Karenkay. Believe it or not, I got these off of Temu.
Aren't they the best?
I was shocked. Like for a $3 deck of cards, boy, I can hang with these. They all came out great. Craig says, thank you very much. Massive
you are
help.
Welcome very much.
Thank you for giving more Jill than me, but giving us the opportunity to check into those things for you today. And Lee's wondering what spirits got in store for her today. What does spirit want her to know? It's a white birth, isn't it? I got a couple of decks out here. The other deck I have and have used for the show already today is the Soul Truth deck from can't really read the name on here. Brienne Hovey, it looks like. Also from Temu. Free plug for Temu.
Okay, Spirit's showing me, I almost feel like I'm at the it's like a beautiful fence. It's what I imagine heaven looks like. If you want to like paint a picture, it's like the beautiful, like the opulent gates. There's a sense of protection. I feel like you're I don't want to say you're protecting something, or if it, hold on, let me work through. We're doing charades here. Protect the kingdom. What? One moment, checking in.
Take two.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is, and I'm having some trouble understanding. It's not my job to understand. I just need to like report the details. So what I'm seeing is a very beautiful fence, gold, silver. This is very very just beautiful. And I feel like it's like at Disneyland, like the Sleeping Beauty's palace, you know, the castle, like everything is like protected. And I feel like you're involved, or there's something like coming together that's very very beautiful, but also very fragile. Very fragile. Like you need to protect it. And a lot of people are taking notice of it because it is behind such a protected, I keep saying protected, but that's not the word. Exclusive, selective,
elite.
It just feels very, is there something going, are you involved? Is there something that's very kind of next level, like coming together? It feels like you're either going to become part of, or you're involved in something that's been very protective. A lot of people want in, and they're watching because it's something very beautiful being created. Does that make any sense? Am I totally misreading what I'm getting?
Not getting another word from Lee just yet. But I hear what you're saying. It's like there's a plan in the developmental phase. It's been kind of secretive and held close.
I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of something I can relate it to.
Lisa, she's in the beginning of her spiritual journey.
Oh, okay.
Sacred.
Okay. The beautiful. You know what it's making me feel like? It's almost like now I'm seeing like a snow, like a little, like it's like a snow globe. Like it's this beautiful thing, but protected. Because I know in the beginning it can be scary. It's this beautiful, scary thing, and you don't want it to fall apart. I know for me, when this started, I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Like if I didn't acknowledge spirit, or if I didn't sit up straight, if I spoke poorly of a fellow human, like it would all fall apart. Like it was this very fragile thing. But I'd say enjoy these early stages, because it is beautiful, and protect those moments and don't let other people tear it apart or interfere.
Mm-hmm. She says she's just beginning, and I love that that's how you close, because she said, and I'm just starting to share with others. And I think I know we've talked about this recently in a group setting. Starting to share with others, starting to come forward, starting to own who you are in a more public way, or even just among your family. Just starting to share with others, know that you're protected. Know that as long as you stay within your heart and stay on your path and stay right and true to yourself and to spirit, there's your protection, there's your gates, there's the kingdom that you're speaking of, I think. The card that I got, interestingly enough, is name all the things that you love. And are you one of them? Cherish yourself. Cherish this time along your path. Yes, she has a very protective spirit guide. So again, know that you're protective. You got it, Jill. Beautiful. Today's mantra, it says, is I give myself all of the love and attention I need. And I think Jill and I can both attest to how so important and essential that is as you're going through your path, as you're learning to share who you are with other people.
And Lee, just to add to that, and I know Deidre I'm sure she can attest to this, but as you start sharing with people, the right people will come into your life. I mean, since I've started this journey, I hate using the term community, but I feel so surrounded and supported by the people who understand. And even the ones where I was really kind of like on the fence, like, oh boy, I'm really sticking my neck out, they're never going to talk to me again. They're either, the response has been, no, we knew, we got it. So, or, oh, that makes sense. Okay, go on. Carry on.
I've encountered like no response at all, as though it's a piece of information that they just need to sit with and process. I've gotten very little, there's one person, very little negative feedback. That's not true. what you do is a lie. And you know what? That's okay. It gave me an opportunity to really look at how settled am I with who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm sharing, and how I'm moving forward on my path. And it was kind of a test for me. And I didn't even feel the need to rise to the challenge, to the test, right? Like, you know what? Hey, I understand that you and I both have different ideas on these kinds of things.
They'll come around.
Where it's at.
They'll come around.
Oh, I'm not even worried about it. They picked the right one to show up as a test. That one I can take or leave. I can respect where that person is. Absolutely. That's their thing. Awesome. I love that it's opening them up and bringing them some comfort. Sylvia's letting you know that she loves the crow above your head, Jill. She said, the image has been around me the last few days, and a literal stuffed crow attached to the back of a truck I was behind at a light yesterday. She needs to figure out what it's telling her.
I picked this up in Alaska back in January. We were up there in Palmer, Alaska at the Bigfoot Museum. And they have a local artist who makes all these beautiful like metal arts. And I feel very like Portlandia put a bird on it right now. So just had to throw that in. Well, shout out to Portland culture.
I love it. Love it. I was going to make a joke about it and say, that's because you knew you were going to meet Jill today on this show and get a reading. I'm sure that's not it, but whatever.
I planned this.
Yeah. Crows are so much fun. Ravens, crows. I know they're different, but it's hard to tell just from pictures. Mr. Tim has an idea about a charitable organization, and he's looking to try to figure out how long it might take for it to come to, not to come to fruition, but for it to be successful. And Tim, I don't know if you mean successful as in financially, or successful as in gaining ground, moving forward, picking up momentum, and finding supporters. Not all entirely two different things, but we can leave that open.
This is making me feel of like when you plant something, you have to understand, like you can have a vision of like what the flowers are going to look like, but you have to be patient. You have to let the seed, you have to let germination take place. You got to let the little sprout grow. So there's no such thing. And this is, that's what they're showing me. What I'm interpreting is you have to be patient. You have to nurture these ideas and thoughts, give it the right food and care. And I mean, and that can apply to almost anything in life, but especially with this. And the idea that the charitable aspect, when you're giving part of yourself to help others, you're going to bring in other people who want to help make it grow. That's beautiful. Good morning, Anne. I'm sorry I didn't see you sooner. Thanks for coming over to say good morning to us. I feel, Tim, I don't have a timeline, but I feel as though if you haven't already, you have a good sense of who you want to go to for support, contribution, as far as promoting and helping get this thing off the ground for you. You've got a great network to work with, and they're really going to rise and shine for you and help make this thing take off. It does feel like this is the season right now, summertime. This is the season to put the vision, like really solidify the vision, get the right people involved, and then to put it into action in the fall. I'm feeling like you can shift gears, like starting in September into October. So, okay, then this is like Jill ego talking, like get those end of the year tax, donations for write-offs by the end of the year. But no, it definitely feels like this is the planning stage. This is the time where you're planting and you're going to start growing things, but to put things into motion, I really feel like you'll be ready in the fall. Start to feel the forward motion, you think? Is that what you mean? September, October feels like it'll be ready for to hit the ground running. But this is that time to prepare and get ready, do all the planning, get the right people involved, so everything can start moving and be official. I keep hearing the word, make it official this fall. So I don't know how involved or what level of organization or as far as like what you're trying to do, but I feel like this is the time to plan. And in the fall, I don't know if that's an official business launch or like officially moving forward, like for fundraising or for like getting all the legal structure. That's when the real work will begin. Right now, this is the part of the journey that's the fun part.
The creation.
Yeah.
Before all of the active work comes into play.
But of course, like you're saying, like, how do you define success? And what does it mean to be successful? And there's so many wild cards. You have to be involved with the right people. You got to keep your heart in the right place and, stick to that mission statement and just follow the plan. Don't get too derailed along the way. There's always like little, it's showing me like a river, how there's like little, like, runoffs and whatnot. But if you just stay in the flow of things, you will get to your destination.
Very cool. Love it. Tim, I hope that helps. So lots of forward movement come fall. You're planting stages and planting seeds at this point? Nurturing seedlings, maybe? I think that's what I heard you say. Very cool. Delancia, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, but Delancia popped in and said, I would love a read if possible. And welcome to the show, Delancia. I'm not sure that I've seen your beautiful name pop up in the chat before, so I'm so grateful that you're with us today. Oh, and it's going to be the last one today. I just realized what time it is.
Delancia, are you, I'm feeling like there's a lot of children involved. I'm seeing a lot of like young people. I don't know if you're a teacher or if you're in a situation where you're educating others, but it feels like there's a lot of people that look to you that are looking for information and guidance, but it's not just like a instructional exchange of information. It feels like it's more of you're in a position to nurture and really help people develop and grow along the way. And I see, because I'm seeing you, but there's like it feels like children, but it's almost like story time. Like there are people hanging on your every word, waiting to see what comes next. So it's almost like it feels like you're inspiring people to like take the next step, or there's a lot, I guess, with the bottom. What I'm really getting is that you are in a position to really inspire and influence people and help people like realize their dreams. And they're making me very aware of like how you interact with people, because there's a lot, you have more of an impact on people around you than you realize.
Awesome. Tim popped in and said the success for him at this point is defined in how many people the organization can help. And he agrees. September, October sounds perfect. Exactly what he had in mind. Delancia, I hope that information was helpful to you, that Jill was able to bring forward for you. Unfortunately, we had not a whole lot of time, but I think we got to everyone who was on the list today. So thank you, everybody, for your requests for readings. Jill, thank you for coming in and sharing all of you and all of the information that Spira provided for you today. When our viewers and listeners are looking to find you in the future, we have your email, I think, popped up there. We also have your Facebook page. What is your Facebook page? Just to make sure we can speak it for our podcasters.
Jill, it's Jill Remensnyder.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it's
look for the blonde hair and the red lipstick. So
I love that blonde hair and the red lipstick. Tim is once again saying thank you. Jennifer, good morning to you as well. There's Jill's Facebook popped up in the chat again. It's Jill.Remensnyder if you're looking for her on Facebook. Remensny, D as in David, ER. And I think it's the same for your Gmail account. Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Perfect. All right, you guys. Well, thank you, everybody, for popping in. We will be coming back in next week. We have my guest next week makes healing wands. And she's local to southern Wisconsin. So I know some of y'all are going to get a chance to go see her soon. She's got a new shop opening up too. We'll talk about a lot about that next week. Jill, where are we going to find you? I think you have someplace local in your area.
Yeah, so if you're in the Portland metro area, every third Sunday of the month, I do readings in Vancouver, Washington at Underbar. I do have a gallery reading with my psychic medium partner in crime, McKenna Grace, sometime in August. I don't know the exact location just yet. And also, if you're into Bigfoot, I did produce a documentary called A Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed, available on Amazon, iTunes, and streaming free on Tubi. And we have a sequel coming out this fall that gets into all the paranormal cool stuff about Bigfoot.
Can't wait. Tim says he grew up in Portland. All right, guys, I'm going to have to jump out of here real quick. Kelly Brickle is coming up later this afternoon with the Psychic Hour. And I'm going to leave you with one last thought because this card popped out as we were closing out the show. It was the Magical Gateway. And it says, it takes courage and trust to venture into the unknown. Yet this is where the greatest rewards are. It's time to step boldly forward without looking back. Thanks again for jumping in today, everybody. This has been the Self-Care Show with my guest, Jill Remensnyder, and me, Deidre Sanford, right here on WLTK-DB.com.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.